Hey, welcome to SpaceX Daily, episode 46. It's July 27th, 2026, and I'm Patrick in Vancouver. From the launch pad to the trading floor, here's everything that moved today. Starship Flight 13's intentional faster ascent supplied new heat shield performance data that narrows the remaining steps to a super heavy booster tower catch on Flight 14. SpaceX launched the 13th Starship test flight from Starbase. The ship upper stage executed its reentry profile and achieved a controlled splashdown. Elon Musk stated the vehicle was intentionally flown faster to gather additional heat shield data. Photos released after the flight show the mega rocket during ascent and confirm the ship upper stage completed its water landing intact. Remember, we covered the program yesterday. These results directly advance the tower catch objective. Elon Musk said the upcoming launch will include a tower catch attempt for the Super Heavy booster. The maneuver remains the central objective for rapid reuse. Flight 13 results are described as moving that goal forward. The next flight will test whether the heat shield data collected yesterday supports a reliable capture profile on the booster stage. Mobile networks failed across affected regions during the Spain wildfires. Starlink provided direct-to-cell texting at no charge to users in the impacted areas. The activation demonstrates operational direct-to-cell capability under emergency conditions. The service routed messages through the existing constellation without requiring new hardware on the ground. The agency selected Falcon Heavy after reviewing vehicle options for the Sunrise Solar Storm mission. Sunrise will study solar radio bursts from multiple vantage points in orbit. The change places the payload on SpaceX's heavy lift manifest. The mission requires simultaneous observations that a single smaller vehicle cannot provide. The Cursor test paired a high-performance planner model with lower-cost execution models for an SQL tie benchmark. Output quality remained comparable, while inference spend dropped sharply. The result illustrates how agent architectures can compress large-scale coding workloads. The benchmark used an SQL tie task that previously required full frontier model routing for every substep. The update adds the Q402 model directly to the Cursor environment. Developers can select it for agent-based coding tasks without leaving the editor. The release expands model choice within the same workflow. The integration allows seamless switching between planning and execution models during a single session. City officials reviewed how XAI tax revenue will be allocated at the Memphis site. The talks follow ongoing construction of large-scale compute facilities. Local government adjustments accompany the project's growth. The administrative shakeup includes new personnel assignments tied directly to the data center timeline. Falcon 9 booster B1081 is scheduled for its 26th flight on the Starlink 17-52 mission from Vandenberg. The mission will deploy another batch of Starlink satellites. The pad turnaround stands at 3 days. The booster will attempt a landing on the drone ship OCIESY after separation. Blue Origin will test New Glenn upper stages at NASA's Stennis Space Center. The company is also rebuilding its Cape Canaveral launch site. Parallel progress on the vehicle and ground infrastructure supports future flights. Observers note schedule pressure on the company. The work aims to meet target dates set internally. Relativity space expansion plans surfaced in the latest space industry newsletter. Ongoing Starship activity appears alongside those plans. The company continues to develop its Terran R vehicle. Associated manufacturing capacity forms part of the effort. Details remain limited to high-level announcements at this stage. Off-grid data center proposals face new scrutiny. The proposals concern whether they can truly bypass grid constraints at the scale AI training requires. Reports indicate power demand growth continues to outpace isolated site solutions. Several firms are now revisiting hybrid grid plus on-site designs. The scrutiny follows sustained increases in overall demand. Ethio Telecom highlighted local AI talent during the Cursor Ethiopia hackathon. Participants used the platform to build agent-based tools under real-world constraints. The event drew attention to developer communities outside traditional tech hubs. The hackathon focused on practical applications. Local involvement received emphasis through the event. A European launch startup is seeking $300 million at a $2 billion valuation. The round would fund further development of a reusable small launch vehicle. Financial Times reporting covers the effort. Investors are watching how the valuation compares with recent SpaceX adjacent funding activity. The sought amount ties directly to vehicle development goals. One thing worth watching is that Russia's state program now projects its first reusable orbital rocket no earlier than 2030. The timeline leaves a multi-year gap behind current Falcon 9 and Starship reuse rates. Closing that gap would require sustained funding and engine test cadence that have not yet materialized in public reporting. On the AI front, Cursor's Agent Swarm test showed that routing most coding work to cheaper models after frontier model planning can cut inference costs by more than 95% while preserving output quality. The result points to a practical way to scale developer workloads without proportional spend growth. The benchmark isolated the planner's single expensive pass from the much larger volume of execution tokens. xAI's Memphis campus continues to draw local tax revenue and administrative attention as construction proceeds on additional compute capacity. Officials are now discussing allocation of those funds alongside project milestones. The site forms part of the broader Colossus-class build-out that supports Grok training and inference. Quack AI's Q402 model is now selectable inside Cursor for agent workflows. The addition gives developers an on-platform option that pairs with existing planner execution routing without external configuration. From an engineering standpoint, the Cursor Agent Swarm approach rests on a simple economic split where one high-capability model generates the plan while multiple lower-cost models execute the steps. In raw terms, the planner still consumes the expensive frontier tokens. Yet the execution layer now runs on models whose per token price is a small fraction of the planner's. That division collapses the idiot index of the overall workflow because the bulk of the token volume no longer pays the frontier premium. The measured drop from $9,373 to $411 for the same SQLT task shows the gap is not theoretical. Most of the original cost came from routing every subtask through the expensive model. Once the planner hands off concrete instructions, cheaper models can finish the work without measurable quality loss in this benchmark. The remaining cost is dominated by the planner's single pass plus the lightweight verification steps that still use higher grade inference. What changes next is utilization. If the same pattern holds across larger code bases, inference clusters can keep a small number of frontier GPUs busy on planning while the majority of the fleet runs cheaper models at higher throughput. That rebalancing directly improves the economics of serving developer traffic at scale and reduces the power and interconnect demand that would otherwise grow linearly with every added user. The architecture also creates a clearer separation between the scarce resource of frontier planning capacity and the abundant resource of execution tokens, allowing operators to size clusters around actual token economics rather than uniform model pricing. And a quick market note, SPCX closed at $115.07, up 1.5%. Before we go, Starship's next hardware test will show whether the heat shield data from Flight 13 translates into a reliable tower catch profile. That's your SpaceX news for today. SPCX is trading at $115.07, up 1.5%. If the show saves you time, a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify genuinely helps new listeners find it. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow. One more thing. If you liked today's episode, our sister show Models and Agents for Beginners is worth a spot in your feed. Artificial intelligence explained simply for beginners and curious teens. It's one of the Nera Network's daily briefings, all free at neranetwork.com. Prefer reading? Today's full write-up, sources, and transcript are on the episode blog at neranetwork.com. Same briefing, readable format. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.